This isn't a bad podcast. This isn't a good podcast. This is the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the God is a Geek podcast, your home for video game chat, and today movie chat as well, because video game movies on the horizon. It's all very exciting. My name is Dan Murphy, and joining me today, as frequently happens, is Mr. Mike Stubbsy. Stubbsy, it's early in the morning for us. Are you still tired?
I got up 10-15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it.
You didn't have to. I didn't have to ring you to get you out of bed though, so that is a positive.
Yeah, that was a start.
Even
that was
though
only because I set an alarm.
Yeah, you put that contingency. I can't say the word.
Contingency.
Yeah, you put that in place just in case.
I did.
Yeah, I've been doing alright for getting up early, to be honest with you. But I was lying in bed for literally like an hour and a half, just fucking not moving. As comfort goes. But my room stinks of curry because I didn't move my plate out of my room last night, which is pretty grim, to be honest with you.
Delightful.
Anyway, also joining us, I should say, today, for the first time on the Guys Who Geek podcast, is Mr. Liam Edwards, all the way from a place in Japan that I can't pronounce. Liam, how's it going, fella?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you? I've been up for quite a numerous amount of hours now. I've been busy all day as well. So, yeah, I'm not as tired as you two.
So, for the uninitiated, for like, who are you? Like, what do you do for the site? And then what do you do outside of the site?
Okay, so
recently
I've been doing some video stuff for God is a Geek. Did a video about a Wii U party game called Chompy Chomp Chomp Party, or whatever it was called. It wasn't that great. It wasn't a good game. And then recently I did a Fire Emblem video as well, because that game is good. And outside of that, I'm in Japan at the moment. Because I've always wanted to come out and live for a bit, so I'm out here. But before that, I was working at Rockstar Games. I was a Rockstar working on GTA 5, and currently I'm the host of a podcast called The Final Games Podcast, where I have guests from the games media, the games development side of things, come on and talk about the 8 games they take with them to like a deserted virtual place, similar to Desert Island Discs, if you've ever heard of that. Recently had Greg Kasavin, the guy who wrote and designed Bastion and Transistor. It's really good. He chose some good games like Dota and Hearthstone and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much me outside of that. I do some video stuff as well on the side. But yeah, happy to be here today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And if you've not seen, if you've not listened to Liam's podcast, check it out because it's very interesting. And if you've not watched his video for Fire Emblem Fates with a brilliant 3DS conversation style intro, then you have to check it out because it's brilliant. I must say, I bet no one's ever come on the podcast and said they'd take Barnyard the video game to their virtual island, would they?
Unfortunately not, no.
See, I'm one of a kind, me. Barnyard the video game, the absolute king. Well, anyway, Liam, so it is your first time on the Godcast, as we like to call it.
Yep.
What have you been playing? You take the stage. What have you been playing? What do you want to talk about?
Pretty much like probably most of the population of the world playing games at the moment. I'm playing Uncharted 4. Coming off the back.
How far are you in? Are you for this?
Where did I get to? Well, last night I jumped back in on, I think it was chapter 7, and I was procrastinating so much in the photo mode that I maybe only did 1.5 chapters in about 6 hours.
Which is that good then?
It's amazing, but the photo mode, if you turn it on, you're just going to lose yourself because, as you can imagine, that game is absolutely stunning. And
I've heard.
And I didn't like Uncharted 3 very much. Big fan.
I couldn't finish it.
No, I finished it, but I was just sat there after I finished it, and I was like, this is really boring. What happened? Nothing. I can't think of anything happening. Every time I think of Uncharted 3, all I think of is the desert, and that was extremely boring. So,
which one was the train one?
The Uncharted 2, the good one. So Uncharted 2 was really, really good. And I was a bit wary about Uncharted 4 because the gameplay is pretty standard by now. Cover-based, third-person shooting. Uncharted's gameplay, in my opinion, has never felt particularly good.
No, I agree. I was very much not blown away by it when I played it, and maybe because my expectations were set far too high because everyone I've obviously been loving it for years by the time I got the collection.
Yeah,
on the PS4.
it's pretty much when you look at it from a shooting standpoint, it's a mediocre shooter at best. But it's everything else that comes with it. Uncharted 2, even Uncharted 1 at the time, technically way advanced. Further than anything else at the time. The set pieces are great. I really like Nathan Drake. I think he's really funny.
I can't get over the fact that he's a psychopathic murderer.
Well, there's also that what do they call it? The ludonarrative dissonance or whatever it is.
No, that's the one. Is it Pseudo or Ludo? One of the
Ludo,
two.
yeah. I think there's a trophy in Uncharted 4 where if you kill 1,000 enemies, you get it titled as a trophy. It's pretty funny.
That's quite brilliant, actually.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you play it for the spectacle, really, don't you? It's like it's almost like going to watch a big blockbuster movie. But there's no guilt. It's not like going to watch Transformers or something like that. There seems to be like quite a craft behind Uncharted, even though on its surface it is kind of standard. But I'm just marveling at like the technical stuff. Everything. I'm a big fan of like animation variety in video games because you play like people like us play a lot of games, especially anyone who reviews games or whatever. And you see a lot of the same things all the time, and you sort of notice where game limitations are.
Okay.
I worked on GTA 5 for years, and it gets to a point where you know exactly what the game can do and the boundaries that you're limited to. So there's nothing you can really push yourself out of that. Whereas when you play like a game like Bayonetta, for example, the amount of animations that are in like Bayonetta's moves and stuff are amazing, but they're always the same. Whereas Uncharted seems to constantly, and I first saw it in The Last of Us, although I didn't really like that game, that it's really reactive. Like the animation's really reactive. It doesn't
like touching the walls and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like even if it's not, it's hard to describe. Like there's a lot of things that are obviously set up. Like when you stand next to something happens. But there are times when you're like fighting multiple enemies and you'll get attacked by two, and then Drake will automatically do something to counter both of them.
Oh, that's cool. I get what you mean. Like,
but the positioning of where you put Drake at the time is completely random.
Yeah,
so
it's like dynamic combat type thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but it's the animation because then the camera like zooms in so you can watch the animation and stuff. So they must have just hard coded so many different animation like outputs. It's
a bit different. It's like what you're saying, but I remember seeing a GIF on Reddit from it a few months ago now. I think it might have been Drake sat on a couch talking to your lassie. And the amount of animation in just literally 3 seconds of him like sitting down and then looking over and then pulling the littlest of smirks. It's like the amount of detail. It reminds me, especially with the facial stuff, it reminds me a lot of I know I always mention this game, Witcher 3, just the facial stuff they have going on there. It's very similar. But it's interesting that you say you weren't a big fan of Last of Us, right?
Oh, well, because go on. Yeah, sorry.
What didn't you like? Okay, what didn't you like about Last of Us first? Because this might
okay, so obviously Uncharted 3 wasn't too long before that, and I was kind of coming off the back of being sorely disappointed by that game. So I maybe was particularly a little harsh on Naughty Dog. But then when I obviously bought The Last of Us, and I was pretty excited to play it. But when I started playing it, I don't know, the gameplay, it's almost that ludonarrative dissonance joke kind of thing, but I really couldn't get on with the fact that you were playing a game that's essentially all about sneaking around and ambushing people, because you know your resources are quote unquote low, so you have to sort of make your way around quietly, taking advantage of every opportunity that you possibly can. But you had this AI companion with you who was always fucking off and then just being in the middle of the map, being seen by every enemy. And it just takes away from the fact that you're trying to sneak around. And I couldn't really get on with that narrative
I can understand that.
Disconnection. Yeah. And the gameplay was pretty standard.
I think the problem with that is if you either have her accidentally walk about sometimes they don't see her, or they do see her every time and then you get pissed off because you're always getting spotted, or you have to control her, which didn't a shite Resident Evil do that once?
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that they could see her and not notice her because she's the AI. So they're like, that like enemy is looking directly at her, but because she's AI and not you, the AI doesn't notice it. So it's like you've not been spotted, which is just like an utter joke and just looks really bad to me.
I do get it, but I think if you did get spotted all the time, you'd get pissed off with it a lot more, than you wouldn't give a shit about her.
Absolutely. But does that mean that you have to? I get the whole building a relationship. I get the whole building a relationship thing with the like characters, and the whole story is about Joel and Ellie, but AI companions, as we've always seen in the past, usually are shite. So I don't know.
So linking that back to Uncharted 4, like you say, you don't. I was talking to Adam and I was talking to Chris, who also played it in previous sense. Yeah. And they both said that the combat in Uncharted has taken a lot of pointers from Last of Us, especially like with how the melee stuff works. It's a bit more better. So do you not see the improvements in? Do you not like?
Yeah, I can see that. You know what I mean? I think the melee's a little harder in Uncharted 4. You sort of get
good because it was so shit in the others.
You get grappled by enemies a lot more, so you have to sort of break out by like mashing triangle quite a lot, which I don't know if I do like, but it's a lot more focused on stealth. So there's like sections now where there's like long grass, so you can hide in the grass. Even on like the rooftops of like some Italian villa, there's like grass that you can hide in, which is a little silly, but it's there for gameplay's sake. And so stealthing around is really fun because unlike the other Uncharted games, the levels are a little more like Hitman, the new Hitman. I can only describe
so
it.
Open.
Yeah, it's almost like a little playground.
Like a Tomb Raider.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, where you had like a direct path where you could only climb certain things, now you can sort of climb around anything you want. Yeah. And there's always like a second option to something, and that's kind of fun because there are plenty of opportunities to shoot. But because Drake's sort of retired and stuff, and he's not really done it a lot recently, it feels a lot more, I don't know, narratively better to be stealthing and taking your time and
shooting everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels good because the shooting isn't great, so it's just a part of the experience. But
I like that a lot because like my main complaints, and I know listeners have said this before, sorry about that. Like my main problem with the other Uncharted is that you'd go into an area, your sneaking up would consist of literally going up, shooting your first enemy, and then every fucker in the whole vicinity would know exactly where you are at all times. Yeah, and that did me nothing. So knowing that there's a bit more stealth in this certainly has me more intrigued. Like I said, wasn't a massive fan of the first three.
And the stealth works really well because talking about animation variety again, if you sort of go out of the long grass a little bit to like grab an enemy and like choke them out, Drake will automatically drag them back to the long grass if he's near it to like hide the body, which I thought is really smart. That's super smart, but it's cool. It's good.
So without spoiling it in any type of way, how are you finding the story so far? Like just say, are you liking it or are you not liking it? Because I don't want to be lynched for spoiling it.
Okay, so no spoilers. It's great so far.
It's good to know.
It's a lot more emotional, but that's because of the characters and because of how close Drake is with the characters. And because if you sort of care for Drake a little bit like I do, and you almost want to see him do well, the people he has around him are almost keeping him stable a little bit, so it's nice to have him bouncing off those characters. But I think the biggest part of that is definitely the performances by the characters. Like, everyone takes a piss out of him, but what's his name? The new Nolan North. I always forget his name now.
Sam Troy Baker?
No, Troy Baker. Troy Baker, yeah.
He plays Sam.
Yeah, he plays Sam, yeah. Him and Nolan North, as they are literally like two brothers. They are perfect, and the way they perform back and forth between each other is excellent. And that definitely, at times, is almost hard to believe it's not real.
Okay.
Because also, especially when you're watching cutscenes and it just looks like a movie. So, it's great. And even if, and this is coming from someone who was wary about spending 50 quid on a game they weren't sure they were going to enjoy because the previous one wasn't very good, get it. If you've got any interest in it, just get it. You're going to have a good time. You're going to have a great time.
I'm getting tempted too much. Are you getting tempted by it at all, Stubbsy?
Not really. I've never really been that much of a fan of Uncharted. I played 2, but I have a problem with like all Naughty Dog games where I can't play them like at once. So Uncharted 2, I played like 4 hours, and then took a break for like 3 months, and then came back and finished it. And I did exactly the same with The Last of Us. And Uncharted 3 was just shit, so I never played that.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I feel like I kind of get bored of it because the gameplay is often really similar. Like, the story can be great, but at the end of the day, you're always shooting guys. And whereas, like, I was brought up on Call of Duty, and, like, after 4 hours, the campaign's done. So I think it might just be a remnant of that I can't really stick it out for that long.
I absolutely get what you're saying, and yeah, it sort of continues like that in this one. Naughty Dog especially has a feel around their games now, and The Last of Us feels a lot like Uncharted, especially in how it looks and how the characters sort of move around and stuff. And I think with Uncharted 4, it's you come for the technological advancements if you don't like the gameplay. So, but it's you know, if you sit on the cheap one day, I do highly recommend that you just play it just to see what the whole fuss around the tech is.
Yeah, I feel like the hype's too much for me at the minute. It's dragging me down slower and slower. But anyway, Stubbsy, I think all three of us have been playing something. I've been playing Overwatch, finally. I know we've been talking about it like shitloads over the last 2 episodes, but...
Well, you say finally, but I've been playing it since like Christmas, mate. So.
Yeah, but mate, we're not all PC goons like you, are we?
But it's the master race.
I'll have to tell about the PC story later. Overwatch is finally, it's on beta. It comes out. Well, the beta's shut now. What was it? Last Thursday? How long was it? Was it a week basically?
Depends if you got in early or not.
Yeah.
I got it early, but I didn't. I wasn't home to play it early, so I think it was Monday to Monday, wasn't it, for everyone else? The 3rd to the 10th?
No, that was for everyone. I think it was the 5th to the...
Right, 5th to the 10th then, right.
Yeah, or 9th.
But it's out now, so, Liam, what do you think of Overwatch, I should say, since you're the new one? Have you only played it on console?
I was lucky enough to get given a code for the few days before the free open beta, and I was playing on PlayStation 4, and I thought it was excellent, especially
it's really good, isn't
it? Because I don't particularly like playing console shooters that much, and anything that's kind of like a MOBA or that battle arena type thing, I don't want to play on a console. But I thought it was absolutely excellent. I really, really enjoyed it. But then I tried the PC version on the open beta because anyone could access it then. And my PC, unfortunately, I've only got I've got a pretty good laptop at the moment because I'm in Japan, but it wasn't that great. It wasn't like the console experience I was getting. The frames were dropping quite a bit. But there was nothing between them apart from just console preference. I thought it was excellent. I love it.
I absolutely loved it. It was just something so different to any shooter I've ever played, and I think it could really get frustrating when you was with a team who weren't fucking playing to the objective, or was everyone was being a certain character or something like that. There was too many offensive and all that type of stuff. So I think its legs on PlayStation very much depend on how many if people actually play to the actual game and not for their own personal glory. But I absolutely loved it, and it reminded me of the games when they were working well. They reminded me so much of football matches, whereas the tactics in them, do you sit back to defend or do you push forward to pin them back? It's the flow of games when they were working well. I like the ones where you have to capture objectives at least. They very much reminded me of just football games and how tactics and how the games flow in that type of way. Stubbsy, what did you think about it in the open beta? I know you've played it a lot, but can talk more about your thoughts on Overwatch and whatnot. Why not, eh?
I think it reaffirmed my opinion that it'll die after 2 months on console.
Why? Just because of what I said then?
Yeah, pretty much. On PC, at least during the closed beta when I was playing, there was kind of an established meta. Because people knew what they're doing, you would have good games, and on PC, I never had a game where you had 4 tracers. But in
That was
in the console beta, that happened multiple times.
yeah, that was funny.
And I mean, that won't be exclusive to consoles when it launches. But I think
PC will have better
I think
player-based
that will
feel,
turn off a lot more people. And I just like the way console gaming works compared to PC gaming. I just don't see Overwatch sticking around because on console it is, for a lot of people, very much I'll buy this game, play it for 2 months, and then look, the next thing's out. Let's move on to that.
I do think it has a chance though. I think it'll lose a lot. Like I say, I think it'll appear dead after that 2 months. But I think there'll still be a group of, and I think it'll be a sizable lot.
Oh yeah, there'll be a group of weirdos that still play it.
And that's when they'll probably get better because people will actually be playing for the objectives.
I think I'm probably going to be one of those weirdos, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be like Titanfall, which just completely dropped off. Because it's Blizzard, I think it'll get a lot of love and care in terms of updates and new characters and all that sort of thing. But it's one of those games, it's a multiplayer-only game, and I'm not sure they do particularly well on consoles anyway.
Yeah, I've been saying that for absolutely ages, like the Evolve, the Titanfall, stuff like that. They've mostly flunked, but I do think, Battlefront was kind of the exception to that last year, and I think Overwatch will continue that. What's your favourite character, Liam?
When I first started playing, I was really enjoying Tracer, just because.
Fuck Tracer.
Well, only because the blink ability is like generally like one of my favourite things in video games.
Yeah,
like in Dishonored, I just love like blinking all over the place and that kind of thing. But after I realised I was really shit with her, so I switched and I started playing with Hanzo.
Mate, we're on the same page.
Yeah, well, Hanzo is awesome, and
That's my dude.
I could almost just sit at the back and defend, and I've got a pretty good shot, so I could pick people off pretty well. And I knew when to use like his abilities, because I've played like MOBAs and stuff in the past, so it's sort of like inherently when to use your skills and that kind of thing. But I was bouncing back and forth between like Hanzo. I really, really enjoyed using Soldier 76 for a while. He's
the easiest one and he's the most simple character, and I was refusing not to play as him at some point because I was like, I just don't want to be good at the most boring character.
I had the same feelings, and I was like, he feels like, playing like Halo or Call of Duty. Once you started playing him and you could sort of, he was the one I'd always choose if we were losing and we had like a minute
you get
left.
Back to objectives quick.
You could sprint, and the stuff you could do with him was awesome. Like if you knew when to use your your ultimate and that kind of thing at the right time, you could annihilate a whole team. He's really good.
I liked him. I just didn't want to be good as him because he was singing. I played him on my first game. I got 20 kills with him like straight away. So like, this guy's good. But it's just I refuse to be good at the most boring. Well, not like I refuse to only be good at the most boring character. But like I say, I want to ask you actually before you talk about more characters.
Yeah.
Do you find that the lack of pressing in L3 to move a bit faster is jarring?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do. And it's because back in the day playing Halo 3, Halo 2, you couldn't sprint. But then as soon as like Call of Duty came, or even Halo Reach where you could have the sprint ability, going back and not being able to sprint automatically just in any shooter is not it's not fun. It
feels frustrating. It feels like I'm getting hurled back, and then because depending on the maps and what the game is, you can be literally the other end of the map from the objective, and it just takes ages to get there.
Well, a lot of characters have like sort of teleports, and you have Tracer's blink, you have like Reaper's teleport.
Far is the best for moving, I thought. You can just smash into the air and float about.
Yeah, but when you go back and you play like Hanzo or Genji and characters like that have like no sprint, no teleport, no faster movement, it's almost like moving through sludge. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's so
like them
slow.
It's like them dreams where you're running, always running, but you can't move anywhere, and you're like really slow, and it's fucking hanging.
It's so slow.
Stubbsy, what's your rebuttal to that claim?
I think, like, my argument to that is that it shouldn't have sprints because of balance. Like, character move speed is so important, and then if you have variable character move speed, then it becomes a lot harder to balance everything and make it sort of not overpowered certain characters. Like, I think if you increased, say, Hanzo's movement speed, or Roadhog specifically, like, if they become faster with a sprint, then I think they become way too strong. I think it just creates that one extra variable that stops stops balance from going off.
I definitely agree. The only issue I have with it is that even though that is the case, people are still put off by choosing those characters, which sometimes can make jumping into a game with 4 Tracers or 3 Reapers a bit annoying, because no one will try other characters because they're a bit too slow, maybe.
Maybe.
But that's because people are idiots.
Well, yeah, true. But it's annoying. Another question I want to ask: do you think that there should be a limit of how many people can play as a certain one character in a game? Because when you get to defenders who would just have 3 Bastions and a Torbjorn, it's fucking infuriating. Especially on Anubis when he has that bottleneck and you just can't get in at all.
I think one of the best things Overwatch does is the ability to change characters on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
That's so smart, and it comes from Team Fortress 2 and that kind of thing. It's incredibly smart, and it's such a good addition because it switches up the game, all the time, making each one varied and fun. But I definitely think there should be a limit of 2. If someone's if there are already 2 people playing a certain character, you should not be able to play that character, because I've been in games where there's been the one where you push the payload.
Yeah.
And there's just been 5 Reinhardts sitting next to it with shields.
That's quite funny.
So, I mean, people are idiots, but people are going to do that. So you need to sort of put a limit on that, I think.
Yeah, I was playing the other day actually, and it's not like that bad, but I was just a Bastion on top of the payload, and I can sense Stubbsy just shaking his head from here. And then a guy was Reinhardt right in front of me, and we just fucking steamed it. It was so funny. But yeah, I at least have a game mode where you can only have 2, as a limit of 2 or something. Still have the game mode where anyone could be anyone, but I feel like it gets frustrating when, especially on that Anubis map, when you literally just cannot get fucking through, no matter how hard you try. But again, Stubbsy, I feel like you're going to disagree with that notion as well.
Yeah, I disagree, because, looking at it, when it inevitably becomes a spectator sport, being able to have total freedom allows people to come up with, really cool cheese strats. So,
okay.
One that has been relatively popular is triple Winston. So you just get 3 Winstons. And then when you all jump in on them at the same time, one Winston is relatively hard to deal with anyway, but multiple people can do it. If there's 3 just jumping about and bashing the shit out of you, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's just so good for wasting time.
Okay.
And so shit like that wouldn't happen if you had a limit of 2, because 2 isn't quite as cool as 3.
I think though, if you're going to go competitive, say similar to League of Legends or Dota, both those games have modes where you can have any character, so you can have each team can have the same character and that kind of thing, and then you have the normal queue, solo queues, where you can only choose one type of character. The cheese strats, I think, in competitive might not go down too well, because I think people just get pissed off. I don't know, really.
No,
to
I
be
think
honest.
it will, because even in Dota and shit like that, cheese strats still happen. They're just not, because of the rules. You can't do the same character. But I think in Overwatch definitely will, because
it
each
leads to
character
more funny moments
in certain situations, having 3 or 4 of the same character can be much stronger than having different characters and stuff like that.
Is that making it too easy though?
Well, I guess it's up to the team to then react to it, isn't it?
Yeah, because everything has a counter in some way, shape or form.
Yeah.
You've just got to figure it out, and because you can change on the fly, then you can.
But do you think we'll see, if one team chooses 5 Reinhardts to protect a payload, you'll have one team picking 5 of the counter, and then you'll just have 2 teams with the same that are all playing the same character?
I don't think you'll ever see in proper competitive games where there's in a tournament. I don't think you'll ever see 5, because that just limits you so much. If you've got 5 Reinhardts on a payload, and they pick Pharah and manage to shoot up behind you and drop their ult behind them, then they're all fucked. So that creates too much of a single all-in strategy.
Yeah,
I do think that allowing multiple characters, the same ones, is a good idea, purely because it makes it much more. The combinations much larger. If you just keep it to 1 per character, then the established meta is going to be really, really small. The amount of characters that get picked.
When we played that game and there was 4 Tracers, I must say, there was 4 Tracers, there was a Zarya, and I was just Bastion on the objective, whilst everyone else just went out and fucked people up. And I must say, we smashed them. instantly, and it was quite funny.
Yeah.
I feel like my frustrations come from when I'm being on the losing side, maybe, which isn't very subjective.
But Murphy, we only won that because I'm best Tracer EU.
So is she your favourite character? I must say, Stubbsy, I played a game 2 nights ago, and I went as Tracer I was on Anubis, and you know the first capture site?
Yeah. I
was Tracer in there, and I zoomed in, shot two folk, and then did the rewind thing, and shot someone else, and did a triple kill and captured it. I was like, right, this might be alright. And I'll tell you why now. You know when I told you about Lucio, and I said, I keep thinking his weapon's just automatic, but it's not, it's semi-automatic or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually thought Tracer's was... I had the reverse with Tracer. I thought her gun was semi-automatic, so I kept stopping shooting, and that's why I kept getting munched.
You muppet.
Yeah, a bit. But is Tracer your favourite character, or who else do you like?
I'm kind of haven't got a specific favourite character. But Tracer definitely went up, in my opinion, over the course of the console beta that I played. Like, Tracer wouldn't... Reaper used to be my go-to we need damage person, just because he's cool as fuck. But over the console beta, because everyone else was playing Tracer, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to play Tracer just so you're not shit at Tracer, and eventually change to someone else. And I got reasonably good with her, and she's definitely shut up. I think she's one of my mains now.
Fair play. Which characters do you not like, or which were a disappointment? Because I know there's a few that watching the game, like when you watch Overwatch for afar, some certain characters stick in your mind, and then when finally playing it, a few kind of disappointed me. Are there any ones that disappointed you, Stubbsy, or was you don't particularly like?
I think Soldier 76 definitely is... I'm coming at this from a spectator point of view, for the esports side of things. I think he's boring as fuck and kind of needs something a little bit more interesting.
Spice doesn't have a jetpack or something, actually. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I'm watching a game of competitive Overwatch, most of the characters either have interesting abilities or interesting team play mechanics. He doesn't. He's straight out Call of Duty. So that's kind of a bit... I think that's that. And then I don't like Torchborn because of how inactive he is.
Yeah.
I think if...
I got 30 kills with him once I didn't move.
Exactly. I think, again, from a watching point of view, I think that's quite boring, but he's quite powerful in certain situations.
Them turrets are absolute cunts. So, when you're not playing as him, it's an absolute bastard.
I think he could do with, instead of his armor giving ability, if he got a more slightly combat offensive ability that sort of forced him to move away from his turret every now and again, I think that would make him a lot more watchable.
I think that's what the armor things are meant to do, aren't they?
Yeah, but you can just drop, because of where you position your turrets on most maps, you can drop that relatively close to your turrets. And...
No, I don't even mean that. I mean, when your enemies die and then they drop armor and you collect it.
Yeah, but
I guess that's what it's meant to do, but it doesn't, because
it's not enough of an incentive.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe same to you, Liam. Was only was this the first time you played Overwatch? And was it the first time you played it?
This was the first time I played it.
So before you played it, it's 4 times. Which characters did you know of before playing it?
Well, most of them I'd say, because I'd been following it for a while, because I really liked
which ones stuck out to you as the ones that defined Overwatch, let's say?
Tracer and Winston are the two
Winston
I instantly think of. Reaper and Widowmaker as well, I think, on the counter side. But let me first say, I think the character design for each one is fucking immense.
Yeah, every single one is brilliant. They have so much personality.
They have personality. You've got so many different other multiplayer games like MOBAs and that kind of thing, and they all sort of
talking about them soon.
Have variations of each other almost. But each character in Overwatch, I think maybe, although the roster is quite small, I thought it was bigger than 21. Yeah, but it's just big enough to seem varied. But each one looks amazing. They are so cool, and they just look awesome, and all their different variation skins as well just look so cool. So
everyone's so distinct as well. In both play and how they react and how they talk. And
so
all
from an aesthetic point of view, none really. I think they all look cool. When I got to playing though, there were a few I couldn't really get on with. One was Farah, I really,
I like that.
I really wanted to like her, but I just couldn't. I didn't like not
That's
being as in control with my rocket launcher because I was managing my boosting and hovering ability. So that's just because I'm shit. So so that was nothing on her, but I didn't particularly get on with her. I didn't particularly like playing. I didn't particularly like playing Reaper, and that's because the counter to that, I kind of liked playing Kree.
Oh no!
So
Kree shit as well.
No, but like with Reaper, I feel like, as Stubbsy was saying, like the high damage and the sort of teleport kind of ability are really cool, and he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just didn't feel as flexible with him as when I was like playing Kree, and I could just sort of roll into people and just like fire off a load of shots at them. But yeah, not really. Apart from those two, I kind of enjoyed playing everyone, even if I was doing really bad. It was just fun to play in general.
I completely agree. I think the design that's why when I recently wrote a thing about like a beginner's review of every character, whatever. Yeah. Of like one game, and I agree, that's why I never mentioned how they look, because every single one looks amazing. I think Roadhog and Junkrat are literally straight out of Mad Max, and probably my favourite designs. But going in, the ones I knew were the Cowboy, Son McCree, Reaper, Winston, and Tracer. They were the ones I kind of knew. I like Winston. I think he's good, but his beam weapon, I don't like beam weapons at all. Reaper, I feel like, whilst if you've got his ult and you can, like, you know, teleport into an objective where there's loads of people and just launch it, I think is really good. And his ability is good, but I really don't like his gun. Like, I don't like, and same with McCree, I think the like very slow, low fire rate, low capacity pistols just don't jive with me a lot. And yeah, both of them were quite disappointing to me, which is annoying because they're the ones that I like playing it. Yeah, were the ones that excited me the most. But I think my favourites is your boy Hanzo.
Hanzo's awesome.
Really like, obviously, because I'm a noob, Bastion. Who else do I like? Hanzo, he's so cool.
I want to get really good at the monk robot I forget his name.
Zenyatta. I don't like him
because like his like animations and everything, and his design look cool. Amazing. And I think his abilities are really cool, like being able to like debuff enemies and buff your own enemies while being able to unleash powerful like loads of metal balls at people. I think that's really cool. Yeah. So I'd like to get good at him.
He's cool. I want to get good at a support character. I really want to be good at Mercy or Lucio. So I want to be the person who gets likes because I'm just there healing everyone. But I just can't do it. I always end up just getting fucking munched all the time. It's annoying. But I'll continue to endeavour. I'll continue going. Stubbsy, you've been playing a game that's kind of like Overwatch, but nobody actually knows about, haven't you?
Battleborn?
That would be the one, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Let's delve into this. It's literally the same as last week's podcast. I might just name it like, what was it? Born to Overwatch the Law 2 or something, just for the band.
Yeah, we're not talking about Lawbreakers.
We're not. Well, we've mentioned it now, so it's legit.
And I can talk more about Battleborn this time. Okay. Although I'm probably not going to, because I'm the only one that's played it, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, I think last time we spoke, had I just got back from an event, possibly, for Battleborn, and I played the co-op campaign there. I still haven't played that at home yet, which I need to find someone to do. So if anyone's on PS4 and wants to play co-op campaign with me, then give me a shout. And I was quite high on that, but like the multiplayer side of things, which ultimately is, I guess, is the core of the game. That's been quite interesting because Nick and Mick, who have also been playing it, have been kind of down on it. Sort of saying, like, the one thing that I think we all agree on is that there are fundamental issues with the progression system, because characters are locked behind levels, and
so they're not all just available, like in.
And then, like, the matchmaking is shit. So the other day I was level 3, the highest level on my team was 17, and yet the other team had a 31, a 32, and a level 50. So we kind of got shat on there, and it's like there is balance issues there. But when you do manage to get into a good game, I can't remember what the mode is called, even though I did write this down, but my notebook's the other side of the room and I can't really go up and get it. But there's one mode, it's the second one, where it's kind of like a single lane MOBA. Like minions spawn, they go to the middle, they battle each other. You can kill minions and push your minions forward. And then you've got to win. You've got to destroy basically one outer tower, which is like this big mechanical spider thing. And then you've got to go into their base and destroy this other big mechanical robot thing. It's kind of like a MOBA, which I think is why I'm quite enjoying it. Unless you're getting absolutely shat on, like each game is going to last at least 20 minutes. And that's the part that I'm really enjoying when I manage to get a good game. I can't decide if the fact that I'm not getting good games is because no one's playing it and they have to match you with people, or if it's because the matchmaking is fundamentally bad. But I think
either way, it's not a good result, is it? So.
No, I think it's getting a lot of stick. I think there is a lot of warrant for that. It's not. It's not what it probably should have been. But I think I like it more than a lot of people purely because of. I think it is just that one game mode that's kind of got me and is so MOBA-y that it's like, this is just another MOBA that I can play. I also like with the characters that you start with.
Yeah.
Some of them are quite cool, like Marquis, the like C-3PO French sniper man.
I know you're on it, and that's the one guy I do know.
I really quite like him. I managed to go like my first game as him. I think I went 9 kills, 0 deaths, 9 assists, and like killed the highest amount of minions on my team and did the highest amount of damage on my team. So I really like him. But then there is Oscar Mike, who is basically Soldier 76 but shitter, which is a like challenging thing to accomplish in the first place. And he is like he's up there as one of the most boring Eons. And then Montana I kind of like because he's a tank, and he's got a minigun that doesn't have ammo. It just has like a heat thing. But one of the builds that you can do, like when the heat hits max, and like if it normally it would force you to stop shooting while it cools down. You can get a skill that if you're firing when it's at max, it just drains your health quite slowly.
Okay.
And then you can like have other skills that if you're firing at max increases his health regen. So you can almost make it so that you can just constantly be firing this minigun.
Yeah, I get you.
He's quite cool, but I think the problem with a lot of the characters is they feel like they have good ideas, but some of their abilities feel like they should be on other characters.
Okay.
Like Marquis has got this sort of stasis time fieldy thing that doesn't have the longest cast range, and if he's a sniper, he wants to be a long way from the action, and it kind of feels useless in most situations. So I think some of the characters are very good. I think some of the characters are very, very not bad, but need a little bit more thought to them. But yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a lot. There was one instance in this game mode where like these big robotic metal things that are basically towers take a lot to take down. So like you kind of need all of your team shooting at it for probably a minute. And there was one point in one of my games where we like took a really good fight. I think there was only one enemy remaining. So we were like, fuck it, right, we can take this. We all ran to it. And then stupidly we kind of all stood together. And then Montana has ability where he can charge, like slide in and knock you up. And there's another hero called Wrath, and he has an ability that like can knock you up. So Montana comes in and then like knocks us back. And then as we hit the ground, Wrath also uses his ability that knocks us up in the air again. So we was up in the air for probably a good 10 seconds. All the while, like, their damage dealers at the back, I can't remember specifically who they are, were just shooting the shit out of us. So we went from, like, having total control of the match and probably being in a position to almost push on and win to them absolutely turning it. We ended up losing off that just because we couldn't hold them back. So, yeah, it has really, really good moments. It's just...
I think its problem is that it just takes too long to fucking explain what it is.
I was gonna say I've got a question in terms of when I've seen it, it looks like a MOBA. Like it kind of looks like Smite and League of Legends crossed. That sort of behind like first person shooting type gameplay. But you say it's got like a campaign. What on earth does that campaign consist of? Is it the MOBA
think-
maps and you do stuff on them, or is it like an actual
No.
campaign?
Like, I think comparing it to a MOBA directly this isn't like Paragon that is a MOBA out and out.
Okay.
This is a hero shooter that has very strong MOBA elements. So, like, it's got 3 game modes. 2 of them are kind of MOBA-y. One of them is just straight up like domination out of Call of Duty that has no MOBA elements whatsoever.
Okay.
The
But you said like
campaign-
minions and stuff like that, so I
like
automatically
2 of
assume
the
like MOBA.
2 of the game modes have minions. Like, one of them is basically single lane. I can't remember what it's called in Smite, but there's that single lane thing in Smite.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's basically that.
Yeah, they have it in League of Legends as well. It's like
Yeah.
What's it called? I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's like single lane.
Yeah,
Just fire back and forth until you destroy someone's towers.
yeah, it's basically like that. But there's like, obviously with the third person view and shit. Oh no, first person view.
Yeah.
Yeah, first person. And then there's another one where, like, the idea is that you've got to push your minions into the enemy's not quite base, but like big machine thing, and the first team to push 100 minions into the enemy's base wins. So that's kind of MOBA. But the co-op campaign is not MOBA at all. It's kind of, most of them are like escort missions, so escort this big mechanical spider from one end of the map to the other while killing loads of AI. Others are kind of more horde mode type. You're in this area, defend it, move on to the next area, defend it. It's actually quite good. I haven't played all of it, as I said, and I know Nick was complaining that the difficulty spikes quite a bit, but I think that might just be because she's bad.
That's a dig. Its problem is that Overwatch has just fucking killed it with the beta on it.
Yeah, like, no one's talking about this, or if they are, they're saying, "Oh my god, I didn't realise this was actually out."
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, I thought they were the same game. That's what a lot of people are saying as well.
Yeah, I think it has a. I think if this had launched last year, like late last year, it would have got buried by other stuff. But I think it would have actually been in a better position than it is now, because now people don't know A, what it is, and B, what it exists. If it was the first one to market before Overwatch was really in the public consensus, then this would have been so much better.
It's a shame, really, because it's. I think a friend of ours said over the weekend, Stubbsy, it just feels like this year's Evolve, even, doesn't it? Just come out. It's not like it's fucked up like Evolve did, like in the process of it coming out. It's just that it's just going to come out, no one knows about it, and then it'll just disappear from everyone's mindset. But anyway, let's see what else we got to talk about. We went to bloody Cologne, Stubbsy, didn't we? Because I've been joining on your world tour this time.
Yeah, you joined me on part of my world tour, which seems to be taking a bit of a break, or was planned to take a bit of a break, but now isn't. It looks like I'm going to be doing world tour straight through to the end of E3.
Oh mate, don't talk about E3 yet. It's too far away. I'm too stressed with everything else.
It's only a month.
I know, but I still. Like, I'm looking at my calendar now, which is right in front of me, and the amount of fucking things that I've got that say deadline, and I've like highlighted circles around it, is fucking terrifying. We went to
instead of doing fucking podcasts then.
Well, I do 4 a week, and it's not exactly healthy. We went to see the new Rainbow Six Siege DLC, which was Operation Dustline. It's out now. There's 2 new operators, Blackbeard, which is basically Dan Bilzerian, and Valkyrie. And then the new map called Border. You've played a lot more. You reviewed it for a start. You played a lot more of Rainbow Six Siege than me, Stubbsy. So, what do you think of these new operators and the new map compared to what came before it? Because to me, they seem pretty good to me. But like I said, that was my first time playing, and not much to go off.
I don't want to say like your Dan Bilzerian comparison. Matt from PC Games N in his preview said that he looks exactly like the guy from the Medal of Honor reboot the other year.
Yeah, that's a great show.
Yeah, it is. It's like literally a spitting image, which I found hilarious. But yeah, it's like the new map. I kind of didn't take that much notice of because we only got 2 games I think to play, and you can't really tell that much about a map. Though it didn't really feel. It had 2. It's like in a building. It has 2 floors. I felt like the upper floor was not used as much as it should have been.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I don't actually think I ever went to it.
No, I think that definitely. Well, that could have just been because the people we're playing with were idiots. But like, I think that I'll be interested to see how it works out in sort of the more pro scene, how often it's used in rotation and shit.
It was interesting. The map was interesting with the abseiling inside, with that catwalk and the courtyard type thing.
Yeah,
Nice,
but
interesting twist.
I feel like that was specifically designed to give whatever the female defensive operator's name is,
Valkyrie.
I feel like that was specifically designed to give her somewhere to place a camera in a really effective area.
Okay.
Because like her main ability is that she's got 4 cameras that you can place anywhere and give 360-degree vision. And if you've played Rainbow Six, you'll know how important vision is, and like being able to tell where your opponents are, especially when you're on the defensive side. So being able to place these cameras, and then I'm fairly sure anyone can access them.
I think that's what they said, yeah. Because they make a relay conversation and all that jazz.
So it just gives you more vision, which is, I feel like at the higher competitive levels will be very, very useful. If you're just rocking in and want to shoot some guys, then you ain't going to use it, because like, you don't want to be doing vision. You want to.
I think it's the point is it gives defenders more vision instead of just the attackers who have camera operators. I think that's what was said. And then your dude Blackbeard.
Yeah, he was interesting because he's clearly designed to do one thing very well. Yep. He has a mini shield that goes on the end of his gun that basically covers his head and shoulders from anything coming directly forward at him. So that kind of makes him perfect for knocking the little holes in like boarded up windows looking through, because then he can't take damage. But that is so one-dimensional that doing anything else kind of just sucks.
He was quite slow as well, I noticed. I don't know if you picked that up as well. He felt slow in movement to me.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that bad, especially when like you're used to playing shit like Montana and people who are actually slow. But yeah, I mean, I quite liked them both. I want to say that I've got the season pass, so I might go try them in actual public matchmatching after this.
Yeah, see how they go.
See what that's like.
We also watched. Well, we did eventually watch the Pro League semi-final. It was, so we got to witness Rainbow Six being played as an esport live. I got to see my first esport thing ever as the esport expert. That's esport expert. That I don't know if that's really good or really bad, but anyway, as that, what did you think of watching Rainbow Six live in that type of capacity?
I quite like Rainbow Six as an esport.
No, it's pretty good. I like it asymmetrical and all that jazz.
I think with first-person shooters trying to become an esport, as much as it doesn't seem like it is already quite a crowded market. So you have Call of Duty that kind of takes the relatively fast-paced, see stuff, shoot shit approach. And then you've got Counter-Strike Go, which is all about peaking and getting your angles right and managing your economy, which is a big part of CSGO esports that people don't seem to realise. And then Rainbow Six kind of comes in and has found the perfect market kind of in between the two. So there is a lot of like keeping your angles and peeking around corners and shit like that. But it also has that slightly faster pace of Call of Duty, at least when the action kicks off. And because it has that tacticalness of the attack-defend mentality, where defenders can set up and try and out-mind game the attackers, and vice versa, then that's why it works really well as a spectator sport. I feel like it combines the best of both worlds, and with a lot of first-person shooters, they are very dry because you just watch them, and it is all about mechanical skill. Like, if one guy gets into a gunfight with the other, the person who has the better skill 9 times out of 10 is going to win. Whereas Rainbow Six, that isn't quite the case. If you've got better tactics, much like, not quite MOBAs, but much like sort of a StarCrafty type thing, then you will probably end up taking that round if you manage to out-mind game the other team. So that's why I really like it. The event that we was at was I want to say it was like the biggest Rainbow Six event to date. Although it was
prize pool.
It was part of, like, if we're going crowds, it was part of IEM Katowice earlier in the year, but that wasn't its own event. So this was 50 grand prize pool.
25 to the winners, and then the rest split.
And there were 4 teams, 2 Americans, 2 Europeans, and it was basically single elimination, so semi-finals into a final.
I think the problem was, as the neutral, as someone who has no idea, is that the quality disparity between, because what it was the second team from Europe played the first team from America, and then the same way the other round, and the disparity in quality between the best team and the second team was very noticeable even for me.
I think, yeah, I agree. The second map especially, because wasn't that like straight win? They didn't lose a single round.
I think they might have won the first round, and then they got absolutely battered because they made a lot of stupid mistakes. Like the one guy walked into the wire, when they got munched, and then stuff like that. They was making a lot of stupid. They were dying in stupid ways. It was like stupid death off horrible histories.
Yeah, it was like I would have quite liked to have watched the final, which we unfortunately didn't get to do. But yeah, it was. I really like it as a spectator sport. I think that's gonna make me watch it more. I'll be interested to see where they take it, because obviously the event was at the ESL Studios in Cologne, which is not a massive venue. It's literally ESL's broadcasting.
Well, it didn't feel like a venue at all. It was just people sitting with just either journalists or
the other
team.
I would like to see them. I wouldn't like to see them do a event on its own, because I don't think it would get that much support. What I would like to see them do is tie the finals into one of ESL's other big events. So they're doing ESL 1 New York in early October, I want to say. And I would really like to see them, like the main game is Counter-Strike, but I would also like to see them have a Rainbow Six area. Kind of like they did at Katowice, just to see how well it does with other people. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I'd like to get your thoughts on like esports in general, because I know you were quite sceptical going, oh, I've got to sit here and watch fucking people play video games.
I wouldn't say it was that. I was looking forward to doing it. It was like, obviously, it was a weird environment. I enjoyed being, because literally it was like, it wasn't as if it was a stage or anything. It was literally, we were just sat behind the scene. It was like, I don't know, watching a TV show getting recorded. Like, we were just behind the scenes as the what would you call the main dude who was talking? Not the commentators or the casters, the main dude. The host, right? Yeah. The host, like watching him like do his business and interview folk and that. It was interesting to like be behind the scenes of it. And then, as I said, it didn't help that it was delayed by an hour and a half because of technical issues.
Yeah, that was quite interesting to watch, actually. Just seeing ESL stuff running about, going, oh my god, what the fuck do we do? That was really interesting.
It was quite sad, actually, seeing them quite dishevelled. But they got it going eventually, and then obviously, but we were tired and all that type of jazz. We'd been out since quite early, after being, I thought it was very interesting. Like, and I think I'd have enjoyed the final a lot more with the two better teams. Actually, do you know who won?
Yes, Penta, the team in orange that we watched, they ended up winning.
They were very good. Yeah. Like, I think that game would have been a lot more interesting to watch, because obviously it was equal quality, so it might have been a bit more exciting than that. But I did find, it was cool watching it. And Rainbow Six is I can't speak for any other esport or anything, but because Rainbow Six has the good spectator mode where you can literally cut to people's first person view, or have the Sims like bird eye view. It's very good. I could see it going somewhere. But my only reservation is about it actually taking off proper. Is that, are they going to just release a new one in a year or so and then just kill the momentum or anything like that? I know that's the point of Call of Duty. That's what they do with theirs. I just don't know what happens with Rainbow Six. They're obviously supporting it for 2 more DLC packages yet.
3. They've got 3 more seasons of the esports planned.
No, I mean the DLC for the actual game.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, but like esports has got 3 more seasons coming.
Yeah.
So
it'd be interesting to see where it goes. But like, yeah, it was definitely an interesting thing. I'm definitely more interested in seeing more esports. But I think it helped being like a game I can understand like instantly. Like, oh, you shoot him, get the objective.
And that's definitely one of the main things. Like, I really, really like esports, and that's because I've been watching like professional League of Legends since like 2012. So, and that was kind of when it was like a little baby. And then since then I've branched into watching like a little bit of Counter-Strike, a little bit of StarCraft and that kind of thing. But it isn't as appealing if you don't understand the game mechanics.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't see where the line is.
You can't see when a good
exactly.
It's like, oh,
that just happened kind of thing. It's one of those things, and I understand why people are like, oh, what's so big about watching someone play games? It's because unless you play that game, you don't know where the line is of why these guys are so good at that game. And when you do get invested and you sort of understand the mechanics a bit more, and you understand what your own personal limitations are, or the limitations of the person you play with who's the best, and then you're watching professionals just completely demolish those limitations, that's sort of when esports becomes really appealing.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, I'd be interested a lot more. I think I'd be interested in something like, wargaming stuff, like World of Tanks or all that jazz, because it's instantly, kill the other fucking tank. It's instantly simple. I imagine that's for the
World of Tanks is a little bit more tactical than that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like I can understand what their games are.
I think the
Whereas
easiest
with a MOBA, I'm never gonna know.
Yeah, I think the easiest entry is fighting games for sure. They're the easiest because I think they're the easiest for anyone to just watch, because it's almost just like a boxing match. It's when one person falls, that other person's won. It's kind of hard to determine what else is happening in any other game. But it all depends on what you like, really.
Definitely. So I'll be interested to see more Stubbsy at some point. But anyway, I think that's the end of the God is a Geek podcast. If you want to hear us talk about the Assassin's Creed movie, because a new trailer came out, and if you want to hear stories about Japan and differences between Japan and England from Liam, also stick around for the Patreon bit. All you need to do is go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, throw a couple of quid our way just to help us keep going and keep going to different places in the world to cover games and whatnot. That'd be greatly appreciated. And then, elsewhere you can go to godisageek.com to read all our writing of games and whatnot. You go to youtube.com/godisageek to see Adam, Colm and Lee do... Oh, and Liam, of course. Bloody hell, I'm forgetful me today. Supply you with some brilliant video content. And then, of course, Twitter @godisageek, facebook.com/godisageek. And, you know where to find us by now, I should hope. Liam, where can people find you on that wide internet?
People can just find me on Twitter @LiamBME, and then you can find the podcast that I do, www.soundcloud.com/finalgamespodcast, and then you can find it. It's also on iTunes and Overcast and all those other RSS feed type things.
Ripping up the iTunes chart.
Last week.
No need to be humble here. It's fucking killing it, son.
Yeah, last week managed to get number 1, which is pretty sweet and amazing. It's just surpassed something like 15,000 downloads since February or some nonsense, so it's pretty good.
Brilliant, man. Stubbsy, where can people find you on the internet?
@MikeStubbsy on Twitter. That's basically it.
That's pretty much. And as for me, it's Mabrowski, as always. And there's nothing else to say but to say goodbye. So, Liam, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Or, actually, let me say in Japanese. Jana.
Oh, wonderful. Stubbsy, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Do you not have a foreign language you can tell us it in?
Fuck off.
Fair enough. And it's goodbye from me. C'est la vie.